Hi everyone, how are you doing? I hope you're doing okay. Today in this video I want to show you how to calculate the size of your knitting project. Basically how to turn centimeters or inches if you're in America into stitches and rows. How to do that. This video is for absolute beginners. I have found this pattern for the cardigan in the internet. These centimeters were already there. These are not my measurements, okay? I just downloaded this from Pinterest if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm mistaken. I don't remember, it was long ago. So this shape of this cardigan is very simple and primitive, okay? This is just rectangles, rectangle body, rectangle arms, nothing anatomical for body.
Mommy.
Sorry, excuse me. So the pattern here is 4-5 sizes ready, but I will show you how to calculate the size for any size you want, okay? You can make it for your own size, for adult size, for men, for women. Because of this rectangle shape, okay, there is no proper anatomical human body shaping considerations here in this pattern. This cardigan with this shape will be very suitable to make it oversized, okay? This is my preference, but this is a little bit advice from me. So the sizes here are 0 to 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 1-year-old baby, and 18 months, and it will make 1.5-year-old baby. Okay, 5 sizes. So you see this neckline part is 8 centimeters, 9 centimeters, 9 centimeters, 10 and 11. All these numbers are referenced to these sizes, okay? 5 sizes and 5 numbers for those sizes. Also the same thing here. For example, the you see the length of the arm is 12, 15, 18, 21, 24 centimeters long, and 5 centimeters from all of these sizes we will consider for ribbing. The ribbing I'm planning to do one-on-one ribbing, 1 knit stitch and one purl stitch, okay? This will be later. So if you don't need this cardigan, you don't have to knit this, but I will use this cardigan pattern to show how to calculate, okay? So for the arm part, I'm sorry for my horrible English, especially for knitting vocabulary. My knitting vocabulary is very weak, so I apologize for that in advance. So the arm length of the arm, where the arm will go, is 9 centimeters, 10, 11, 12, 13 centimeters, and the body part from the point of armpit and below are 11, 13, 15, 17, 19 centimeters. But at this part you can choose any other length you wish, okay? Because to me this is too short. I already have one here knitted already. Let me show you. You see, I already knitted one for 3 months size. You see, this looks more like a jacket, okay? You can choose your yarn color close to jeans color, and this will make a very beautiful jacket, for example. And by the way, I'm going to knit with double thread. So this is what you got. And at this part I always prefer to make it longer, okay, because I'm always cold and I think my child is always cold. That's why, to protect him from cold, I make these parts longer usually. This is absolutely for your own personal preference. So let's go. Then at this part, our project, our cardigan, is supposed to be 21, 24, 26, 29 and 32 centimeters. And these 5 centimeters I want to make, I'm planning to make, but I might change my mind by the end for ribbing. So this is enough for now for the ribbings. Let me talk. I want to talk about needles. Why? Because to calculate the centimeters into rows and stitches, we need to knit this sample, okay, this gauge sample. It's called gauge in English, I remember it. In order to knit this thing will help us to calculate how many rows or stitches we have in 1 centimeter. How do I do it? Okay, usually for my samples, gauge samples, I make these samples from 10 to 15 centimeters width and length. Why? Because usually I calculate how many rows and stitches I have in 10 centimeters, then I divide it by 10 and get the result for 1 centimeter. So to do this, I need my sample to be a little bit, a few centimeters longer than 10. Okay, here I have even bigger than 10 centimeters, even 15 centimeters, but this is your personal preference. This is the logic of it. It should be, I advise it to be a little longer and wider than 10 centimeters. Maximum 15 centimeters would be okay for you. So if you are planning to use the new yarn that you have never used, even if this is the yarn that you worked with already, you know how it works, how it comes out in projects and whatever, blah blah blah. How do I choose, how do I make my samples? You see, I knitted this sample with double thread because I want my project to be knitted with double threads. Okay, so this is your choice. You can make with 1 thread, double, 3 layered, I don't know, that is up to you, whatever. So that's why, but I have never used this yarn specifically with double thread, so I needed to experiment a little bit to find out the suitable size of knitting needles for this project. First of all, I checked this double thread knitting with 5mm knitting needle, 5.5 and 6, and the best to me was the 6. Okay, because 5 came out very tough, harsh, and this would be very unpleasant to put on your body. Okay, I want it to be a little bit soft and fluffy. So you use this logic for your samples. So after I decided on my knitting needle size and coming to knitting needles finally, I advise, how did I used to do it? For example, this cardigan specifically I made with 6mm knitting needle, with these ones. Okay, I have several 6mm knitting needles, but I chose this one. What I used to do, and that was a mistake. For example, you see I have here all of these knitting needles are 4mm. Okay, all of them are the same knitting needles. What I used to do is I used to make my samples, for example, with these ones, with double pointed knitting needles, and then when I started knitting my project itself, I switched to the same size but for the circular needles. And a few times I had a problem with sizes. Size turned out to be wrong. But where was the problem? The problem was that for example, different brands of knitting needles of the same size as they show here can be different sizes actually. Okay, both of them can show 4 millimeters, but it can be a little bit different, like 1 millimeter difference in knitting needles can make a huge difference in your samples. Okay, so after that I decided that I am not going to use different knitting needles even if I use the same size. For my knit project I chose this one, 6 millimeter. The sample I made on this one, and the project will be done on this one, so that everything is 100 or 500% correct, the same. Okay, stitches. So keep this in mind. That's all. These ones I just want to show you. These ones I got from Temu. They are very cheap, but they are not suitable for all the yarn materials. Okay, because this cord here, although it looks and feels when touching slippery, it is not slippery for all the yarn materials. Okay, sometimes yarn doesn't move comfortably on this thing, and this makes the stitch turn, twist, twirl. It destroys, deforms the stitch, so it is very dangerous to me. So I only use very thick I don't know, big thick yarn on this. Okay, fine yarns is not suitable for these circular needles in my opinion. Okay, this is all I want to say about needles. So the final advice is your sample and your main project should be done on the same knitting needle. Okay, so whatever, let's come back to this and I'll show you what I'm doing here. So you need your sample. First you need to wash it, you need to dry it, and then after you start taking measures. Okay, washing and drying it is named blocking, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, you need to block your sample before taking measures. So for example, we need to, as I said before, first I take measures how many rows and stitches I have in 10 centimeters. So let's write it down here. So you see, if we count vertically, this is going to be rows, and if we count horizontally, this is going to be our stitches. So I marked my very first stitch here, so I start from there. I place my measuring tape. So this is going to be, you see, 10 centimeters. Inside of this 10 centimeters you need to count how many rows you have here. How do I count? You see this, I call these stitches, like, this is the stockinette stitch, stockinette knitting, right? This is stockinette stitch, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, you see, this V-shaped stitches. Okay, V. This is one stitch, like with its both sides. This is one stitch, so I count them vertically. So you see, for example, the first one is held by marker 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So here I have already counted this. So I have here 18 rows in one. Where's my pen? So in 10 centimeters. So in 10 centimeters on 10 centimeters, we have 18 rows, and let's count the stitches. So we are doing the same thing. This yellow marker holds the first stitch, so I place my marker here. I count the 10 centimeters, and I need to count how many stitches between these I have. We again need to count these stitches with these V stitches. Okay, we can say that like this with both sides of it, and I have already counted this. We have 13 stitches. Now I need to get the how many rows and stitches in 1 centimeter. I just divide these numbers by 10. So 18 divided by 10 would be 1.8. It's going to be 1.8 rows, and this is going to be 1.3 stitches. Okay, now let's go calculating our size. We are going to need these. Okay, let's write it down at the other side. Okay, so I am going to choose 6 months old size here. I'm going to make, so this is 1, 2, 3, third size. I'm making third. I'm going to write it down right here, and this one. So for the vertical parts of this cardigan, we are going to count rows. We will calculate how many rows it is, and for the horizontal parts, we are going to count stitches. There are only 2 parts where stitches are needed, and this is this low part and the neck part. By the way, we are going to start at the bottom here, and we are going to go up by knitting the process. Okay, so 9 centimeters for the neck. For example, we need 9 centimeters of neck multiplied by 1.3 stitches. This is going to make 11.7 stitches, but this number 11.7 is not going to work for us, so we need to make it or either 11 or 12. Okay, we need whole numbers here. So I will take 12 stitches. So for my size, this 9 is going to be 12 stitches, but this is also not the final numbers, because in process I can change it. Why? Like we'll see in the process. Okay, so this part, 26 centimeters multiplied by 1.3 stitches, it's going to make 33.8 stitches. also here we need to make this number a whole 33 or 34, so I'm going to make it 34 stitches. So 34 stitches. So for the rows, let's start with this, the arm, 11 centimeters here. I need, so 11 centimeters multiplied by rows. Now we take the rows number, 1.8 rows. It's going to make 19.8 rows. Again, we need the whole number, so I'm gonna take 20 rows, and this is going to be 20 rows here. Then 15 centimeters at this part, so let me write it down here. 15 centimeters multiplied by 1.8 rows, it's going to make 27 rows. I'll make it an even number, and I'll take 28 rows. Okay, so, and the last number is the length of the arm, 18 centimeters multiplied by 1.8 rows, it's making 32.4 rows. And let's make it 32 is already an even number, we can leave this one. Okay, it's going to be 32 rows here and 28 rows here. That's it. This is like our calculated. This is suitable for stockinette stitch calculating. Okay guys, we have finished the first part of our calculating. Let's go to the second part and see if these numbers are final or we need to change them. So you see, these parts are all clear, and there's probably will not change them, but there is the most important part of this cardigan is this part. Okay, how many stitches? We counted as 34 stitches based on basic mathematics for 26 centimeters, but do we really need those 34? Let's see. You see, first of all, I made ribbing here, one by one ribbing, I don't know. So in order to make it look symmetrical, we need to the odd number of stitches for ribbing. This is the first thing. So we also have these button stripes here. Usually I make them 6 stitches. 6 stitches here and 6 stitches at the bottom, and then right after these 6 stitches I placed purl stitch all the way to the up. Okay, this, and then I started my ribbing with knit stitches. So we need to consider all of these things while we calculate. So, and yes, and by the way, these 26 centimeters or 34 stitches are only for one part of this cardigan. Okay, because it's not just 34 here and 34 at the back is considered, so it basically would be 68 stitches in total. Now let's see this. So for example, we considered, let's consider this to be back of our cardigan. So this is our 34 stitches, excuse me. 34 stitches at the back will be stable, I think, so let's leave it here. Now at the front, let's see if we consider this to be 34 stitches in total, and I need 6 stitches for button stripe. Now this means I need to 34 stitches minus these 6 stitches, it's going to be 28 stitches left. So these 28 stitches I need to just divide by 2, is going to be 14 stitches. So 14 stitches at the left, 14 stitches at the right. Okay, but these numbers are only for when your buttons are closed. Okay, but we have 2 stripes. Okay, 6 here, 6 here. So in order to know how many stitches to cast on to begin this cardigan, we need to double this 6. Okay, this is going to be double. So for the final number, what do we have? 2 14s, 2 6s, and 1 34 at the end, at the back. So we didn't have, okay, the numbers are full. Okay, that's correct. So for the final cast on stitch numbers is going to be 2 14s, 14 multiplied by 2, plus 2 6s, 6 multiplied by 2, plus 34 stitches at the back. So it's going to be 28, 12, and this is going to be 40 plus 34, 74 stitches. This is our final number that we need to cast on. Okay, this is the logic to make this cardigan. Again, if you don't understand anything, feel absolutely free to ask questions in the comments. So that's all. This is the basic calculation that we need to make for our cardigan, for my cardigan specifically. So as we said, we need odd numbers here to make this ribbing stitches stand symmetrically. So when casting on, I will just add just one stitch, and I will get cast on 75 for this to be symmetrical. Okay, and when we will finish knitting this body part, main body part of this cardigan, and then we will go making our arms of the cardigan. Now here we need our ribbing to be even numbers, so that's why we need to consider this while picking on the stitches from here, okay, at the very beginning, so that we have, this could be any number. Okay, that's all. This is everything we need to keep in our minds while making this easiest cardigan. So that's all for calculating. This would be one part, very first part. Now at the next part of this video, we're going to start knitting this body part. Let's go.